Dead Upon a Time is about a town called Birch Hill where people keep mysteriously disappearing. After a girl named Kate was on her way to her grandma's, she realized that she wasn't there. While searching for her grandmother, Kate discovers something different about her grandmother's tapestries in her room. But these weren't just any tapestries. They each had a story behind it. Then, Kate teams up with a fugitive Jack who was banned from Birch Hill to find Kate's nan before something happens to her. On their way they both get captured by the King's guards from Birch Hill because they were wanted for some time. They brought Kate and Jack to the King's castle, and there they made a deal that if they found his daughter that was missing as well, they would not be punished for being wanted. Kate and Jack agreed, but the King wanted them to go with one of his guards. All three of them were then on their way. While on their way into the trip, Kate and Jack left the King's soldier because they didn't trust him. Then Jack and Kate went on their way to finding them. Many things slowed them down before they made their way to saving them. Kate and Jack finally make it to a castle deep in the woods where they were. Who took the people was a big surprise.
I wanted to work with Jack because he was an outcast who knew how to live on his own. I knew that he would have a few tricks up his sleeve as well. I considered Jack as fearless, and I knew that he could help me get the job done to find the missing subjects. I also picked him because he is very strong and confident. So that is why I chose Jack to help me.
Why do you think that the killer would want to capture and torture people?
Maybe the killer wanted something in return when he thought about taking these people. For example, when the killer took my grandmother, I was so worried about her and curious as to where she went that I would do anything to get her back. And that's exactly what he wants. He lures us into doing whatever he wants to do to get his way. That's why I think he would want to capture and torture these people.
How did you react when you saw your nan's tapestries that she had made?
In my opinion, my nan's tapestries were a bit creepy, but they had stories behind them. One was of a room with gray bricks and needles all over. Another one was a girl sitting on a wooden stool with red apples in a bowl. There were more too. I just don't understand why Nan would make such dreadful tapestries.
How do you think the evil queen felt about the king's daughter?
I thought that there was something different about the queen. When the king noticed that the princess was missing, the queen didn't seem to care too much. So I did some investigating, and I found that the princess had the worst of everything in the castle. The worst room, the least finest clothing, and more. Once I saw this, I knew the queen had taken everything that the princess once had and had given it to her daughters. That's how I think the queen felt about the king's daughter.
How did you react when you knew that the killer was your nan's sister?
When I first knew that the killer was my grandmother's sister, I was shocked. I didn't even know that I had an aunt. My grandmother explained to me that her and her sister have powers. But Katerina had chosen to be the evil sister. When I found out, I was disappointed and confused. I didn't understand why my long-lost family would want to capture anyone. Especially me. The book Dead Upon a Time is a very good book. It is a twist of different fairy tales like Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk. I loved reading about the characters and reading about the different situations going on in the book. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give this book an 8. Some things I didn't like about the book is that it wasn't as scary as I would have wanted it to be, and that there was a lot going on in the book at once. I would recommend this book to my friend Alexis and Madison because they both like books like Dead Upon a Time.